We're joined by Patrick McQuillan here from the Boning Hall. We've just pulled out an example of 3 of the most valuable cuts of the carcass and illustrating where damage caused to those cuts results in the product being downgraded or devalued. So Patrick, maybe you just highlight to me here the different examples on the silver side, from the one that's perfect and good to the one that is damaged, that's defat, and the one that still is the fat on. Right, so Patrick, please take us through these 3 examples of a silver side here.
So here we see the silver side as it's nearly dropped off the animal, and it's a little bit difficult to see here. But this is where the hardness, the stony lump has...
The abscess, as it's called,
as a result of the injection site.
Right, okay. It really becomes visible whenever you remove the layer of fat off the top.
All the membrane and fat has been cleared away, you can see how deep into the muscle it's going. So all this portion of beef is going to be not be fit for use.
And at this stage here, there will be several millimetres of fat has been removed. Will this abscess go further down into the cut?
This could go right down to the far side of it.
And tell me, whenever you're dealing with that, what do you do with it? You can presumably cut it out.
We can cut out the portion that's not of any use, and the rest of it will be downgraded. It'll probably go for a 98 VL.
So instead of that product going out and being sold as a vacuum pack silver side or a retail pack silver side into a supermarket, it's actually downvalued or devalued into a manufacturing beef product from inside.
That's right.
Okay, and this bit here, presumably it's cut out, is condemned.
Yes, we're going for waste.
And the last example here then is one of a silver side that is perfect, that is correct.
Yes, well you can see the difference here straight away. There's no sign of any hardness or stony lumps, you know.
So in this example of a silver side that's perfect, we see that it's a complete red muscle all the way through with no damage or no blemishes whatsoever.
That's right.
And that there is what goes out into retail pack, that goes out into the highest value markets.
That's right.
Right, Patrick, we're now looking at 2 examples on the top side, and this time we're looking at an example of a dark cutting meat and a standard one. We have 2 top sides here, and I think it's pretty visible. The difference in what dark cutting means is exactly as the name suggests.
That's it. It's just you can see the contrast straight away. This animal has probably been under stress prior to slaughter, and that's what's left this darkness in the meat. Now this would be no good to be sending out to any of our customers, you know.
So again, the result of this is here, and we have the example, of course, of the other top side that's perfect here. Yep. That's a nice bright red colour, whereas this here is a deep, more maroon colour, I think, I suppose would be the way to describe ruby red. Yeah. So whenever you come across these in the Boning Hall, what do you do with them?
That's again, it's downgraded. They'll be going into manufacturing mince or something.
So instead of going out as a roast and cut as a retail pack product into a supermarket or wherever, the reality is that this here has to just be devalued and go into manufacturing beef.
Yep.
And how often, again, you know, in a typical day, is this a regular occurrence or is it a pretty rare experience?
It's not rare. I wouldn't say it'd be as regular as what we've seen in the silver sides.
Okay, so it does. You will come across several examples of this in a day.
Yeah.
In terms of the cause of dark cutting beef, then that's very much related to, I suppose, pre-slaughter handling of the animal. Isn't that correct?
Could be, or even transition from the farm into the meat factory.
Right. So I think the messages or the advice has to be, whenever moving stock or handling livestock, to try and keep the atmosphere and environment as calm as possible. Okay, Patrick, thank you very much for that. We'll move on now and look at the example of the loin. Right, Patrick, I suppose the difference in, we looked at the example earlier of the abscess in the silver side, or the growth in it. It's confined to the silver side because it's a silver side that's typically injected. Whenever you have a dark cutting beef problem, it goes right through the whole carcass, is that correct?
Right. We tend to see it extending a lot further throughout and into the deeper cuts as well then, you know.
Right. And we have a good example of it here in that we have, you have there, Patrick, the example of the perfect loin, and this one here is an example of a dark cutting loin, and we can see quite clearly that there is a very different appearance from the dark cutting one to the bright cutting one. Yeah. And again, this presumably results in the loin being devalued. I don't presume that you put it down into manufacturing beef.
No, well, we can sell it off as a downgraded loin.
Right, so it goes into a secondary value market at a much lower price. So, and the likelihood is, if you found that the top side was dark cutting, you will also find that the loin's dark cutting. It's the full hind quarter that's a problem in that case.
Right through, yeah.
Okay, thank you.